I can't do this. 10% happier self-care journey. Today is January 6, 2020. Thanks so much for joining me. So before we get into this lesson for today, I want to do something that, excuse me, I got a bit of the sniffle, so getting over a cold. I want to do something that is going to be a significant part of the plans that I lay out for like my own concepts, my own programming, my own ideas. And for right now, we'll just call it like the 30-second meditation formula. Let me drink some water so I can try to make it through this. So the 30-second meditation formula is my concept where, I realized that the most accessible way to get into meditation is realizing that you don't need time. And it's probably the biggest complaint, the biggest I can't do this. So, hey Andrea, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Happy 2020. How are you? So the biggest stumbling block to the I can't do this excuse is time. So what I realized is that 30 seconds is all you need in order to meditate. 30 seconds to take 3 deep breaths and 10 seconds to practice mindfulness around feeling what you're feeling. So I like to start out by doing that today, and I'm going to make it a habit to do it pretty regularly. So we're just going to take 3 deep breaths in and out together, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And the goal is for the inhales and exhales to be long and the same length. So let's start with 1 deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in and out. We're just going to take 10 more seconds of mindfulness, just breathing normally. That's it. Congratulations on your meditation session. So this is something that I'm coming up with in the moment. Well, I've been coming up with now and in these moments of going through this self-care journey, and something I realized that I'm rolling out as I roll out my own brand of doing this. So the 10 seconds is for mindfulness around thoughts and mantras that you're able to just say to yourself in order to help yourself to de-escalate or to relax or to settle in. And this is, if you're dealing with something tough and challenging or not. I realized in my own flow, I did it, I mentioned it, excuse me, with my first meditation. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out on my YouTube channel or either on my website. It's called Breathe Deeply, a guided meditation. You can look at it and listen to it right on my YouTube channel, Aaron Hill TV. And I did the whole meditation around just breathing. And I mentioned that it was one of the things I recognized in my own life, that even though I'm a pretty even-keel, happy-go-lucky guy, I didn't realize that I was breathing very shallow most of the time and not at all taking deep breaths. So 30 seconds, 3 deep breaths, and 10 seconds of mindfulness to work with certain mantras. Mantras like, this is just a mind state. If you're dealing with something challenging, it's okay to feel this. The acceptance of things like stress being your ally, because this is something natural and normal. Just taking a minute to just feel your body, feel your breath, and just be there as opposed to in your head. Thanks, Andrea, for watching. James, hey, how you guys doing today? Happy 2020 to you too. I got 2 Andreas in the building. My 2 favorite Andreas in the whole world. So, yeah. Now I gotta hope the 3rd Andrea I know doesn't watch, because then, no, just kidding. So, 20 seconds for 3 deep breaths. 10 seconds for some kind of mantra around mindfulness. Now, one of the biggest things that I've learned about mindfulness that I keep talking about is I knew the side of I knew the part of the definition of the word that had to do with like awareness, being like aware of something. But the side of being non-judgmental is like the thing, being non-judgmental about whatever it is you're bringing awareness to. So, I can't do this. That's the topic for today. It's the biggest excuse that all of us have when it comes to meditating. Whether it be because of time, which I just now showed you that you don't need time, or whether it be, something like I can't sit still long enough, I can't clear my mind. These are all myths when it comes to meditation, as we'll talk about for a few minutes today. Meditation isn't, I repeat, is not about clearing your brain. It's about focusing the mind for short periods of time and using what we call noting and mindfulness of your breath and body to refocus when your mind wanders. Your mind will wander during meditation. That's the whole point. You've finally taken the time out of the hustle and bustle of life to pause and allow your body to halt for a second and allow yourself the time to just breathe. So I always say your mind is then like, finally, I get you all to myself. So look, we got to do this, and this. You got to go to the grocery store and do this. You got to pick up the kids here and there. What are you going to do about your back pain today? You got to make some more money. That the trash needs to be taken out. These people are calling you when you're going to call them back. Like everything. Why am I doing meditation? I don't have time for this. I should be using this same 30 seconds to make that call, send that email. I should use this 10 minutes because I got to hurry. Like your mind just starts flying. And the truth of the matter is, that's normal. In fact, these are the reps, as they were saying in the course. This is when you're doing the reps. The goal is every time you feel that, every time you notice that, is to, in a non-judgmental, mindful way, make a note of it and use noting to be able to refocus. And we're going to talk about what noting is again in a few minutes. So thanks everybody for joining me. Let me know if you can hear me clearly as well. So meditation isn't about clearing your mind. It's about focusing the mind for short periods of time and using noting and mindfulness of your breath and body to refocus when your mind wanders. Number 2, find a comfortable composure that allows for the distractions. Find a comfortable composure that allows for the distractions. The point is that, to be honest, and this is why I realized for years I was meditating without sitting down to meditate, because I constantly stayed in like this place of mindfulness, this place of like awareness, this place of like quiet. Even if I was in the midst of a traffic jam and a bunch of noise, in my head though it was quiet. So the goal is not to find the ideal place. I mean, when you have the ideal place where it's quiet and you have my music playing in the background, this Breath of Life track playing in the background. as a plug, if a shameless plug, as they say. When you have the ideal circumstances and you have the quiet place to yourself, and you have the yoga mat, or you have the perfect chair, and you're able to sit and have no distractions for 10, 15, 20 minutes, great. But to be honest, the main goal that I have in mind when it comes to my flow with this and what I want to offer to others in my journey is to actually find the ability to meditate in the midst of the noise. The ability to meditate when you're driving and you just talk to someone on the phone and they piss you off, and you get off the phone and your heart is racing and you're upset. Being able to put on this music or sitting quiet and continue to drive and take the 20 seconds to breathe deeply, to relax, to say, like I said, things like, it's okay to feel this. That's probably one of my favorite ones. It's okay to feel this. Because then you allow compassion for yourself, which is the first key to relaxing. And then you might be able to extend empathy to the person that just pissed you the hell off, right? So being able to do that for 30 seconds while you're driving will change your life. Being able to do that for 30 seconds after you just walk out of a meeting, or after you just walk out of a bank, or after you just came out of a restaurant where things were terrible. To me, that's the form of meditation that I'm leading with as far as helping people with, because I think it's the most practical. And then as you get that, then it's easier to be able to find other times to be able to become intentional about quiet times where you can do the same. So finding a comfortable composure just means, like, wherever you are, just finding a composure that, like, both mentally and physically, to where you're not overwhelmed by some distraction, like your back or whatever you were just dealing with, like just getting into that place. So just not being overwhelmed by the distractions. There's a difference between deep thinking and gentle awareness. Both are forms of thinking with different levels of intensity. Now, this is something that I came up with based off of something they said in the course today. They said there's a difference between thinking and awareness. And I kind of modified it because I think that awareness is a form. I don't think you can, there's no such thing as not thinking, like, except for if you're dead. But I believe that there are just different levels of thinking. And so that's why I put it that way. I think that awareness, gentle awareness, I believe, is like just a real gentle way of thinking. Because, hey Jermaine, hey Lester, thank y'all for hanging out. Happy 2020 to you. Hey La. So I think that, gentle awareness is a different form of thinking, because what you're doing is, when you have awareness of your breath, or when you have awareness of your body, or you take the time to have awareness around that, the goal is you're going to think. So you're thinking about your breath, even if you're focusing on noting, which we'll talk about in a few seconds. But you're just allowing your mind not to go past that, or you're monitoring your mind to help it to not go past that. And even when it does, you're bringing it back to that. You're still thinking about something. You're just limiting. You're starting to discipline your mind little by little. And discipline only comes by noticing that you're now thinking about the car and the responsibilities, and then saying, okay, in, out, or counting your breath. These are forms of noting. So there's a difference between deep thinking and gentle awareness. The goal is to be gently aware. Both are forms of thinking with different levels of intensity. Start your meditation first with an open, relaxed attitude. That's the key. And I would even say one of the things that I've been mentioning a lot recently is applying gratitude, thanking yourself for just giving yourself this time, like appreciating yourself, that you're even taking 30 seconds to breathe. I always say in with that, but now I'm starting to also say and think like start with that as well. Like just take a second to just have gratitude to yourself and thanking yourself for even taking the time away from the noise for 30 seconds. Because that attitude is what allows you to relax and start to be able to be mindful and not have as much judgment. So noting, here we go. And I had this in the notes yesterday. Hey Jacqueline, thanks for hanging out. I had it in the notes yesterday, but we're going to review it today because it's right on point. It's so funny because yesterday's topic, if you look at my video from yesterday, it's called Meditation for Skeptics, the case for meditation. And I actually talked about a lot of this before today, and these were things that I just came up with. So noting, many find the practice of noting helpful to help them to stay on track. Noting is the skillful use of thinking to hack thinking. You're always going to be thinking, so it's skillfully using thinking to hack thinking. And even clarify it better, it's like the skillful use of gentle or mild thinking to hack deep thinking. That's really what it is. So here are some examples. Real simple. Silently say to yourself, in and out while breathing. It's funny because they mentioned that, but I kind of came up with that on my own even before I got to the directions, because I realized when you go in, your mouth is closed if you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. So your mouth is closed, and so you automatically are making like the sound of in, because your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth, so to speak. And definitely when you say out, when you exhale, that's easy to say out. Now you don't have to verbalize it, but I noticed that the sound of the breath helps you in your mind to say it along with it, which allows you to keep your mind focused on the breath until you start thinking about the grocery list again. Until you start thinking about the fact, what am I doing? I got 15 minutes before this meeting. But then you start to realize, like, you know what? This is actually the best thing I could be doing before this meeting. Because this is actually the best preparation for this meeting, as opposed to being overwhelmed and in my head and sitting there worrying about everything that's going to happen. Like, I could just take a few minutes to meditate and breathe. So silently saying to yourself in and out while breathing is my favorite form of noting. The second is counting the number of breaths as you inhale and exhale. Real simple and self-explanatory. Count 1, 2, as you inhale, as you exhale, and so forth and so on. And then the last note I have for today is make a mental note of the natural place where your mind wanders. Without judgment, use this as a reminder to go back to noting gently. The key is mindfulness. My favorite word of the year is mindfulness. Make a mental note of the natural place where your mind wanders. So with me, my mind definitely, because I'm always in like legacy mode when it comes to my career or when it comes to the things that I want to do to benefit my family, myself, humanity, my mind automatically goes there. I start thinking about these kind of things, like my next live stream and connecting with people, loving up on people, telling people like Jacqueline, who says real talk, telling her that's what's up. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much. That's what I think about. And even though it's a great thought, it's a distraction. It's where my mind wanders. Hey, Dwight, thanks for hanging out. So what I do now, and what you should do, is make a mental note of like where your mind goes, the kinds of things that you think about when your mind wanders. Because you don't realize when your mind wanders. Like, it's so funny. You're sitting there meditating, you're sitting there saying in and out, and one minute you're there, and then the next minute you're still breathing, but like your mind is thinking about a million other things and you didn't even realize that. So the goal is to gently notice it. Don't judge yourself, which is practicing mindfulness, and then just go right back to what you were doing before. Just say in on your next inhale and out. That's it. It's so simple. It's so easy. most times people say, I can't do this because we overcomplicate it. My goal in my journey is to help us to stop overcomplicating it. To realize that you only need 30 seconds to take 3 deep breaths and to practice mindfulness around certain mantras. Like, it's okay to feel this way. This person didn't mean this. Like, whatever, right? You just could. But 30 seconds. So the excuse is not time. And because you don't have to be seated with your eyes closed, with your fingers like this, and your legs crossed in the lotus position, look at all those things as just like icing on the cake for certain times where you get a chance to do those things and have the best ambiance and light the best light the scented candles and have the garments and have the ambiance and yeah. 30 seconds, y'all. 30 seconds while you're driving. Piss the hell off. Just 30 seconds. That's it. So yeah, make a mental note and then use that note to get you back to noting. That note of like, oh, this is where I go, reminds you to start noting again, to start counting your breaths, to start saying in and out. And that's it. These are reps. These are reps. So every time you do that, it's just another rep. You will never get to the point of not thinking about anything. Happy New Year, Larry. Thanks a lot, cuzzo. Love you, bro. You will never. I like how they said it in this course, right? They said, it made a little joke. Dan Harris made a joke, the writer of the course. He said, I have a saying, like, if your mind is totally clear and you're not thinking about anything, he said, you're either completely enlightened or you're dead. And chances are you're dead, because I don't know anybody under the definition of what we esteem a particular thing as perfection and enlightenment, especially in our deified figures and that kind of thing. But to be honest, to me, a lot of that, well, I won't go into the philosophical, but I will say that I think that the most practical thing on this side of life is to recognize that to focus on progress and not perfection. When you get to that point, and here's another little thing, I will go into this philosophically because this was a fun thought. When I encountered this a couple years ago, I think I was reading an article by a jazz great, like a Herbie Hancock or someone like that. Hey man, Sean, thanks for hanging out, bro. How's your 2020 going so far, man? Happy New Year to you. I think I was reading an article by like a Herbie Hancock or somebody on that level, and they were talking about improvisation, and they said something that was like just the piece that I needed, and my mind just went down a rabbit hole on it. So when they were asked about improvisation and how they do it so well, what they mentioned was something to the extent of like, I'm still processing and thinking like the beginner. It's just that I'm thinking on such a fast level. I'm responding so fast to my mistakes. I'm responding so fast that I'm able to take what I may know as a mistake and turn it into an idea. So the way that it comes across to the listener is just an intentional idea. It's just total intentionality. Because I was always wondering, how the hell do jazz improvisers improvise so perfectly, so to speak? And by perfect, I was just saying, like, it sounds like a complete thought. It sounds like a well put together complete thought. And now, since I'm at that level where this is what I do, hey Rachel, hey Sarah, I love you and miss you and the family. Kiss the kids for me, please, and tell Blue I said hello. How are you all doing? I can't wait to talk to you all again. I gotta catch up my phone. But being at this place where I am as an improviser, now I can attest to it. In fact, my improvisational style is mostly just risky explanation. And I'm like a cat. I just know how to land on my feet really well. I'm not the best executor when it comes to off the top. I'm really good and turning a mistake into an idea and making you think that it was an idea. And the whole time I'm just responding to the moment of like reaching out there, touching a note, and then just processing so fast in the music. And it's so fast that I'm not even thinking about it. I just hear it, my mind reacts to something I want to feel here, and I turn it into an idea. So long story short, I'm saying that to say that that's actually what's happening with the deepest of meditators. And I got to some point, even in my study of spirituality, where I was like, you know what? I don't deify these figures anymore. I actually think that that if there's anything, you just have figures that are responding faster and faster to that processing. That's all. No such thing as perfection. None. Perfection is a social, psychological construct, and it's subjective. It varies from person to person. Now, it has colloquial use, right? I could say, I go outside today and there's a nice day, and I just say it's the perfect day. All I'm doing is just measuring that towards what my goals are. But I used to laugh about people who... Okay, I said I wasn't going to go deep, but I used to laugh. I used to laugh when we would... when we would pray for rain not to happen, and we would be grateful that it didn't, and we'd be like, yeah, it was perfect. Because I'm like, yeah, but to the damn farmer, it's the worst experience. It's the exact opposite. So basically, all we're doing is measuring perfection by our own individual selfish goals. Now, I don't even say that negatively. It's okay to be selfish at times, but knowing that at least makes it make more sense as a whole, which is that there is no such thing as perfection. It's only our ideas of social constructs. And because we have the ability in life, because the way that math works and the way that we understand math and just that system we've come up with, because we can hypothetically come up with a scenario mathematically that may not be something that we're currently experiencing or that we ever experience in this realm. That's how we come up with our ideas of perfection. We use math to be able to come up with certain scenarios. And because those scenarios are real mathematically, it kind of doesn't matter to us whether they actually are real or not, or we can actually attest to them. But anyway, I said I just can't help it. I can't help going down the hole. But the point was, you will not. I'll read the first point again, because that's the take-home point. That's the starting and take-home point. This topic is called I Can't Do This, which is the biggest thing that most of us say. Meditation is not about clearing your mind. It's about focusing the mind for short periods of time and using noting and mindfulness of your breath and body to refocus when your mind wanders. And at some point, you'll just get so good at it to where you just notice when it's about to go faster and faster and faster. And then it'll seem like you just are in this, and you will be in this steady stream. But it won't be because you're not having thoughts anymore. You just are able to monitor faster and faster and faster. So to the person looking at you meditate, to the person looking at Herbie Hancock improvise, to the person looking at a figure like a Jesus figure who seems to have no negative thoughts, you're just looking at entities in different realms that just are faster and faster at responding to their thoughts. So it appears that they're perfect in their goddamn execution. Let's go. All right, y'all. I'm getting off. That is the lesson for the day. And no longer say, I can't do this. All you need is 20 seconds, 3 deep breaths, and 10 seconds of mindfulness. And you're into meditation. So thanks so much for watching. I'm going to jump back in a few minutes with the word of the day. And other than that, if you want to support me to continue to make content like this, look at the info in the comment section. And if you like the music that you're hearing in the background, this is my newest project. My newest song. That's called Breath. I can't even breathe. It's called Breath of Life. And It's available on my YouTube channel, Aaron Hill TV. Check it out along with the guided meditation that goes along with that. Breathe deeply. And it's also on my website, aaronhilltv.com. Click on the music tab. I'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks, and as always, be well. Peace.